Hello and welcome back to Paranormal NL Podcast. That's PNL Podcast located in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. I'm your host and founder, Jen Noseworthy. I hope everyone's New Year 2026 is going well. Thanks again for tuning in to UPRN United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 FM on that Gulf. For tonight's spiritual empath special on UPRN segment number 63, I've got a special guest waiting backstage from Tennessee, USA, who I'll bring on shortly. Now it's time to grab your favorite interdimensional beverage. Grab a few spiritual snacks and get ready for the love, light, and laughter show tonight. Paranormal NL Podcast is sponsored by the BOG Team. It's a boots-on-the-ground BOG team doing historical paranormal investigations in Newfoundland, Canada. Follow PNL Podcast and the BOG Team on their Linktree Paranormal NL Podcast. Smash those subscribe buttons and grab your seasonal and customizable PNL and BOG Team merch on TeePublic. BOG Team music heard in the intro and the exit is available for download on all social media and streaming music platforms. And tune in every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on UPRN for a PNL Podcast with a YouTube and a Facebook live chat watch party. PNL Podcast believes in supporting international paranormal networking and highlighting global paranormal people, places, and things. Now let's get on with the show tonight. I'm going to pull on stage somebody, like we said, from Tennessee, USA. We've got Barbara DeLong. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you so much. And I have to point out, I'm not here because I sing.
Oh.
I'm down here to be with my grandchildren. So,
Barbara, I've got to give a shout out to Mark, Eddy, and Bryan Bowden from Third Eye Live. They're the ones who actually introduced me to you, and that's how I discovered you.
Oh.
So tell us a little bit about yourself to the people on United Public Radio Network and PNL Podcast. A little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in the field of metaphysics, paranormal, for over 50 years. And I've been doing this work on top of the fact that I'm a retired school teacher, but I've been called a lot of things. I prefer spiritual empath, but there's also psychic and medium and channeler and podcaster and documentarian and ordained minister, Reiki master. It's a long list. It's, if you really are that interested, my website has an About Barbara section that gives you gory details.
Well, Barbara, I really appreciate having you on the show tonight. Now, you've got a lot of interesting things on the go. I wanted to show on the stage here your cosmic deck of initiation, and also before Roswell. Did you want to talk about a few of those things?
Well, the cosmic deck is I think one of my most favorite things that I've done so far. And what it is a deck of oracle cards, and it's a tool for self-development, for spiritual self-development. And it's, will it give you psychic stuff? Sure. But,
do you have some there that you can hold up?
I have an older deck, which is the one that I use. They are, the old deck is.
Okay. Now didn't you draw these?
I drew them all, I painted them all, and I'm not an artist.
Wow. Yeah, hold up some more. Let me see.
They're really kind of fun in that they're not standard tarot. Anybody can use them, anybody can get information with them.
Right.
And children can play with them. They're the meanings of the cards. are in the little booklet, certainly, but there's a handbook on how to use the deck that is really, it's about 300 pages of wonderful spiritual information. It helps you understand how to use your talents, your gifts, and your personal insights in making your life better and richer and more magical.
Now, isn't that one on the wall behind you? Is that another one that you drew?
Oh, well, actually, I started doing, yes, I did that. I started doing personal mandalas a long time ago, and people seem, and I'm not an artist, but people seem to really enjoy them. And after I'd done about 500 of them, and they're all over the world, I said, these would make a great deck of cards that would not frighten anybody, but would give people insight and help them to grow more spiritually. So that's what I created the deck. And not only is the deck out there, but you can get an app on your cell phone.
Oh.
It has the deck on it, and it has all of the meanings of all of the cards in it. And I recorded it. So as you pull a card, you can either hear me telling you about the card, or you can read the definition that is in the handbook.
So how do you use it? You just shuffle it and you pull out random card, just one card, or do you usually?
Well, there are lots of different spreads. There's a 1-card spread. There's a pyramid spread that goes into body, mind, and spirit, and career, and love, life, and spiritual. And then there's a huge layout, which is when I do personal readings that I use, that uses 30 or 40 of the cards.
Oh, wow. So, that's a lot. Yeah.
The readings get to be long, yes.
But sounds really fun. So what got you into drawing these?
I was in a class for spiritual development in a spiritualist church, and
right.
He would give us homework every week, and one week it was to draw a mandala for somebody else in the class. So I did, and then of course we shared them, and everybody thought that what I did was so cool, and it was like, can I have one? Can I have, so I ended up painting them for everybody in the class, and then, after a while it got so that I had so many orders, I did them for free for a very long time, and then I had to start charging to kind of slow down the orders. And they just kept coming in, and I finally got it up so high that nobody ordered one anymore.
Do you want to talk about the significance of the mandala? I mean, isn't it in itself sacred geometrical patterns that people think are the interlockings of the universe and vibrational patterns that we are only now unlocking? For example, if you put salt or something on the table and vibrate it to different frequency, you'll get different mandalas.
It's true. And of course, in Tibet, they do beautiful sand paintings. If you look at a lot of the old mandalas that are out there, every one of them has white in the center, which basically is saying at the very center, at the very core of everything, is a connection to the source of all creation.
Wow. Okay.
So,
yeah.
And so all of my mandalas have white in the center, and the colors are the chakra colors that I used, so that every card has a representation of every chakra in it.
Okay.
And so it's a multi-dimensional deck, and it's been out there since I think 90 something, 1 or 2 in there someplace. And
yeah, there's all kinds of different genres and categories, like creativity, daily challenges, spirituality, oracle, tarot, wellness.
Yeah. And I found I had one person sent me an email and said that he was in Kuala Lumpur studying with a Buddhist monk there. And when they were having a tea break, or in my case, a Diet Coke break, talk of mandala came up, and he was talking to the monk was talking about it, and he said, I know of someone that paints mandalas, and they're circular, and the monk said, that has to be Barbara DeLong. And so
my
Yeah, my friend wrote and said, does the sun never set on your empire there? And I guess not.
How long, Barbara, have you been an ordained minister?
Well, about 30 years.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. Now you've got a lot of other things that you do. Did you want to talk about Nightlight Radio?
Well, Nightlight Radio is my platform actually now. Nightlight Radio has been in existence for going on 20 years. And we broadcast now on StreamYard, and it's on YouTube, and we have over 1,000 podcasts, shows that are out there. And I think the exciting thing about it is we've passed 500,000 downloads, and we're on our way to 600,000.
Wow, that's amazing. That is awesome. And I think that doesn't Mark co-host with you on that?
No, Mark doesn't co-host. I put Mark's show onto Nightlight Radio.
Oh, okay. All right. How many different shows do you have on your radio again?
Well, Mark is on it, and I run the switchboard for him. And once a month, Solaris Blue Raven does a show called Neon Twilight, and we do that together.
Okay.
And from time to time, we've had other people that have had shows that they've wanted to do, and I've just put them onto Nightlight. Mary Joyce, who has a fabulous website called Skyships Over Cashiers. And she did shows for quite a while. She does one every now and then. And people come back every now and then and do more shows. So it's an amazing platform, and I've been able to put phenomenal information out there. And I interview authors so that I've had almost 1,000 authors. And one of our favorite is Gary Wayne, who is going to be on the show in January, and earlier this week he'll be on. And he's an amazing biblical scholar. And
wow.
he has such fabulous material. It's unbelievable. So,
awesome. Yeah, this is your website here that I pulled up, and it's barbaradelong.com. And you can get to the Nightlight Radio show through here. And is there anything else on here that you want me to highlight? Did you want me to go back?
On the website has fabulous material on it. There's a tremendous amount of material on giants, on UFOs. Once a month I put a monthly prediction up and a yearly prediction under the focus for what's coming up. So that's there, and that's exciting. There's a calendar that tells when the shows are and where you can find them. There are a lot of different buttons to push. At one point, I had a lot of drop-down menus on my website, and I realized that when people
is great. You can see all the calendar when everybody's coming up. I see here on the December 16th, you've got Mark is coming on there.
Yeah.
And yourself and Greg is coming up on the 18th. So, and you do spiritual readings too, I see.
We do free spiritual readings because there's a big difference between a spiritual reading and a psychic reading. And I think people really need to understand when they go to a psychic, the psychic is literally reading them. They're reading their breath. They're reading their the way they sit. They're reading their eyes. They're reading their clothing. They're reading how they move. They're reading. A reader reads, and when that's the case, then you're giving them hints of all sorts.
And that's related to empath, correct?
Yes, but what I do is a spiritual reading, and so people will ask for a reading from the comment section. I don't know their name, and I don't hear them, and I don't see them, and I don't feel I go directly from my spirit to their spirit and give what information. And I usually give about a month's worth of information 12
Nice.
months worth, so that they get in about 11 minutes, they get the next year as to what energetically is coming their way.
Interesting. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And there's so many people doing it, but your deck to me really stood out. I've never seen one like this before, especially hand done. I mean, it's so intricate. How long does it take you to do just one card?
You mean paint it?
Yes.
Usually it took about a week to
Wow.
paint each of them. And these were done in watercolor. After I did the deck of cards, I stopped painting. Well, I had gone over to oil, but the deck of cards was all done in watercolor.
Beautiful. Yes, for sure. And now you've got some books on the go too, hey? I'm going to take this one off stage and maybe we can talk about your book.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I'll start searching for a picture of it and put it on the screen there while you're talking. You can kind of see it in the background there, but I'll put up a better picture. I think that you had done your book in collaboration, I want to say, with your husband, correct?
Sort of. My husband was Patrick Cook, and he had a wonderful website called Matrix Radio. Not Matrix. Yeah, it was Matrix Radio. It was a radio show. And he had written 3 books. And one of them was on the Bible UFO connection. And in his website, his radio show, everything, he did get into UFOs. And when he passed away, I took his section from his website that were on UFOs and that were on giants, because that material was not in any of the books that he wrote. So the giant material and the UFO material is on my website. And Ken Goudsward contacted me at one point and said he was going to write a book on UFOs in the Bible. And he said, I saw your material, and he said, can I use some of it? And I said, yeah, absolutely, go for it. And then he got back to me again and he said, do you want to co-author it with me? And I said, sure. Okay. And so what he actually did, the meat of the book is material that Patrick had pulled together.
Dear Patrick.
And
I'm so sorry about Patrick.
Oh, me too. And Ken and I both wrote a little bit about each section, and then we did, and he did a summary and I did a final, or the other way around. I forget which it was. But
and I got to meet Ken. Ken was just on, so he was on season 4, episode 2. So yeah, everybody listening, you definitely got to check out Ken's episode. And like as she said, they wrote this book together.
Yeah, it was really, there was nothing for us to really write. So it was all the articles that Patrick had gathered over time, and he's not the first that took a lot of the material and used it in a book.
But you know what I thought was really interesting, Barbara, when you were on the show with Bryan and Mark, the Third Eye Live, you were talking about the Red Baron. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's my great piece of trivia. It's not the only piece from the book, but it's my favorite. The very first person to shoot down a UFO was the Red Baron, the real Red Baron in the German army. And apparently he was flying somewhere in World War I, saw this strange thing, thought it was the enemy, shot it down. The pilot got out and ran into the woods. They never found the pilot.
And this is 1917.
Yeah.
Right?
And he it was just nothing. I shot an enemy plane down and that was it. And he walked away. I don't think ever got credit for it, but it was the first UFO that had ever been shot down.
That's amazing. And nobody ever thought
no big deal
to equate that, right?
Well, it wasn't until 1947
Barbara, didn't they call them Foo Fighters back then? Or was that after then?
That's after.
That was after. Okay. Yeah.
But I think what amazed me was that prior to 1947, UFOs were no big deal. Yeah, somebody saw something in the sky. I don't know what it is, but look. And nobody was afraid of them. Nobody was interested in them. It was just something else that was flying around and you don't know what it is. And it wasn't until 47 when they made the big deal about it. And, it's evil, 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 that UFOs and aliens took on frightening personas. And that's one of the reasons why Ken chose the title and everything. We utilized stuff that happened before Roswell, so that if you go and look in the book, the explanations, the news articles deal with, so and so was milking their cows and saw this, or and we went way back to, I think, 25,000 years ago, to the Sumerian texts. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but nobody was afraid of them until Roswell.
Do you think sensationalism?
Yeah. Fear sells.
Right. That's true. That is true. Now, do you also this is a completely different topic, remote viewing?
I do.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There was a time period, I don't know, it was quite a few years ago, when people were talking about remote viewing. And I said to somebody, well, we can do remote viewing. And so I put the call out on my Facebook, and, I said, I'm going to do remote viewing meditations. Anybody who would like to be is invited to do them with me. And if you just send me your email, I'll let you know when it's going to be, and you can tune in and do it with us. And so we did 12 of them. And I opened up, it was on Blog Talk, and I just opened up the channel at that point and gave some background as to where we were going to go. Did a short meditation and remote, gathered all the energies together. I think we had about 100 people, and took them to the site, through the site, beyond the site, and then had them give back, sensations, what they saw, what they felt, and things like that. We did 12 of them. And basically we were looking at pyramids. We did a lot of them in Egypt. We did some in Antarctica. We did some on the moon. We did some on Mars. We did some in China. We did all over the world.
Wow.
And it was really quite fascinating. And I've had a number of people. And by the way, the remote viewings are actually on the shows are on the website, and there's a playlist for remote viewings, and we're going to do 12 more.
You're going to do 12 more. Now, I had to ask you, for the people who are doing these, are they already remote viewers, or are you teaching them how?
You don't have to be a remote viewer. That's the cool thing about it. I mean, if you're just going to do remote viewing all by yourself, then you need to do a little research and background and stuff like that. But it was in a meditation that I led people through. So and when you're in a meditation and your energy is linked to everybody else, you go wherever the person leads you.
Okay. So
I pulled everybody together in the meditation, and they were all over the world, which was really kind of fun.
I love that.
And I took them to these different sites, and I took them into the sites. And when you're in a meditation and a voice is leading you, you go. I mean, so it was very exciting, and everybody got something. Everybody saw something. And at one point I forget which one it was, but we had Bill Brown, who is a pyramid expert, and he was on the show on with his book, and he was talking about giving everybody the GPSs of the different sites he wanted to go to. And I said to him finally, not many people in the audience are going to take the GPSs and go to Egypt to visit that site to see if there's anything there. But we could remote view it and everybody could go.
I love that.
And he said, well, I've never done that. And I said, well, let's try it. And we did. And it worked.
And there's so many different ones, like you said, the Antarctic, all these different places that you mentioned. Did they all kind of talk about them afterwards? Any similarities?
Well, they gave their comments as to what they saw and what they felt in many of them. And so that was on Blog Talk. And while they could at that time, if they wanted to, I could open their microphones and stuff, but many of them just preferred to write their comments down. And the cool part is, these are up on the YouTube channel. Anybody can listen to the meditation. Anybody can do it. Can go to the different sites we went to. And I mean, the sites that, I have lined up that we're going to remote view, I haven't figured out 12 yet, but some of them are pretty interesting. And it'll be kind of fun to see what people get and how they feel.
Were there any commonalities or anything that you can remember that came out?
Well, I think in the Bosnian pyramids, especially, the Bosnian pyramid, they haven't been able to go into because it's on private property. So, but the tunnels that lead to the Bosnian pyramid are open, and that's what Dr. Sam is excavating and working with. And the fascinating thing about the tunnels is that, and anyone can go and volunteer and help dig, which is fabulous. And what they have found is if you're working in the tunnels, if you're helping to bring out the stuff that is, congregated into the tunnels that needs to be cleared, many people have been cured of arthritis, of all sorts of maladies. The air in the tunnels purifies and helps people to gain energy and become healthier, which is absolutely amazing. And so, it was a fascinating experience taking people into the pyramid itself and up through the different levels and to the peak of the pyramid. And they did it.
I have to ask you this because I was absolutely amazed when Josh, I don't know if you saw his episode where he went into the Great Pyramid of Giza and they used all this equipment like LiDAR scans and things like that. But they also found another dig site adjacent to the pyramid that was in the ground. But when they sent the LiDAR in there and then lined it up on top of the other one of the actual pyramid, that one in the ground was like a
practice run.
Yes, a practice run. But the one in the ground had a vertical shaft. And somebody recently did a reading of the Great Pyramid of Giza that had an empty chamber, but that vertical shaft leads towards that other scan. So I wonder, what did any remote viewers see that?
None of them did, but since that was all done, they did check the empty. There is a chamber, but there's nothing in it.
Oh, really?
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, because there was one chamber where his sarcophagus was supposedly to have been, but he wasn't there. And there wasn't anything else in the room. Is that the one that you're referring to, or is it the other one?
No, there was nothing. The one that is right above the grand entrance.
Yes. Okay.
There's nothing in that one. I know they took a camera in. A teeny camera they could put in, and there was nothing in there.
It makes you wonder, what did they use this thing for? Because you said about the healing aspects of it and things. It does make you wonder about the energy, because it seems like something that was built for a purpose, but we can't figure out what.
From what I can tell, the Great Pyramid was used as a machine.
Yes.
It generated energy. And the Nile came up almost directly to it, so that they could utilize that water, because there's a there's a chamber below the pyramid too, that at one time had water in it.
Yes, and I think I read some other people's books that talk about there is water erosion, of course, around the Sphinx evidence and things like that. But then some other people tried to say that there were coils under the pyramid. Did you read that one?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I think that one's was spoofed, though. they were trying to just get everybody viewing. Now,
Well,
I was going to ask you what your thoughts are on a completely different topic on reincarnation.
oh, sure. I believe in it.
Now, a lot of people don't, but I do.
Well, I think it depends. I personally believe that within each of us is a spark, a seed of the infinite that I call the spirit. Now, we have our body and our mind and soul, and the soul is really not the spirit. It's only a once a lifetime type of thing. That the spirit travels through time and space and dimension, and so it's the spirit that will leave the body, the avatar, at the time of death. When to take it even back a little further, when a baby is created, at the moment that the heart starts to beat, that indicates that a spirit has entered the body. And when the spirit enters the body, it brings with it the DNA of spirit that is attached to us and connected to us and part of us through our physical lifetime. But what most people have trouble grasping is that this is not me. The spirit within me is me, but this will go away someday.
Some people even say that spirit is even when, for example, when you can first hear the baby's heartbeat in the womb, that the spirit is already in there.
The spirit has the breath of life with it.
So okay, so it needs oxygen.
No.
No?
Spirits are etheric. They have no shape, form, or anything. They are
Energy, right?
Energy.
Yeah.
And it's that energy that starts the heart to beat.
Yeah, because it's like from a nursing standpoint, I'm thinking it's beating in the womb, but when you're saying that there's no, shall we say,
it's an empty shell.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the spirit comes in, the heart starts beating, and that lifetime begins.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, life goes by so fast, and you always think, what happened? Like, where did it all go?
Yeah.
You know? But if you were reincarnated, what would you like to come back, or who would you like to come back as, or do we even get a choice?
I think the thing that most people don't understand is that in a physical form, our consciousness can't conceive of anything other than this. But with a cosmic awareness of the spirit within you, there's every possibility in the world. And frankly, my vote would be, I'd rather not come back to the earth plane. I'd rather go to a different dimension and try that on for size.
That sounds fun. Now, when you say a different dimension, not a different dimension on Earth, because several people or a lot of people believe Earth has several different dimensions. You mean a different dimension in another universe?
Cosmically speaking, yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And it makes me think about that movie, with Jodie Foster, where she goes into space. Contact. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. When you think about it, it's we're in a very small part of the cosmic universe, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think so many people get caught up in that box.
Yes.
It's this lifetime, this place is all there is, and that's just so not the case.
I agree. Now, some people think that you can come back as an animal.
I guess you could. I've not spoken to any animal spirit that was a human. I mean, I've had cats. I have cats. I'm a cat person.
You may have heard mine singing in the background.
Mine sings the song of her people usually when I'm on a show. I have had a cat that.
Oh yes, yeah. I see your tree in the background. Is there anybody on the tree?
I've had a cat that came back to me a second time.
Oh.
And she knew me. She knew, the cat died. A year or so later, I picked up another kitten, and it was Smudge. It was my cat.
Oh.
I knew it. So I do think that animals do reincarnate. So why not?
Yeah. I recently lost my kitty, and they're like little human spirits. I know that a lot of people think, oh, it's just an animal, but no, they have their own little souls, right?
I think on my fan page, I had a picture of Poof, my cat, just hanging out on her bed downstairs. And the comment I had another one that said, isn't it amazing? The only thing cats have to worry about is where am I taking my next nap?
I know, right? Isn't it the life to be a cat? Now, with being a spiritual empath, do you think that empaths are more connected to not only just humans by nature, but animals and every other vibration?
Absolutely. And I think most people have that empathic ability. Well, everyone has the ability to be an empath. And psychic and a channeler. And I mean, everyone has the tool set. Now it's a matter, are you going to work with it and develop it, or are you going to just say, isn't that cool? I can't do that, or whatever. So it does make you more sensitive. And
I think it's something that, you kind of hone in on over the years, and you kind of have to teach yourself about it. Like you said, a lot of people maybe thought they had something, or maybe had some experiences of maybe what they thought was deja vu or precogs or things like that. Have you talked to many people like that who didn't know they were, but were?
Well, everybody has it. Everybody has the ability to do it. But are you going to work with it? Are you going to use it? Are you going to? It's like swimming or walking or running or playing tennis or anything. If you're going to really work at it, then it's going to develop. And if you don't, then you'll have those interesting coincidences or synchronicities and not think anything of it. I know that I'm very cognizant. I miss some, but I'm pretty cognizant as to synchronicities. And when I have always been an East Coast person, a Northeast Coast person. And when I was in Connecticut, I told my son I'm going to move to Nashville, and he was quite shocked, but pleased. And
yeah, I don't hear a twang. I was going to ask you about that.
No, I'm a New Yorker, probably more than anything else. But when I moved here, my house was for sale for a year and a half, and so I spent a lot of time looking at the multiple listings and everything. And at one point, when there was an offer I accepted, the next day on the multiple listings, the place where I'm now living, they lowered their price to within my price range. And I called my son and I said, that's it. Go see it. Make sure it's, the pictures are accurate. And if it is, buy it. And he looked and he said, yeah, it looks nice, but do you want to fly out and take a look? I said, nope, just buy it.
Just buy it. Just take it.
This is what I want you to pay. And he said,
Yeah.
you're supposed to bargain, Mom. I said, nope, that's what I'm paying. That's, they'll accept it. And
I got to give a shout out to Michelle. That's why I've got her up there with UPRN, United Public Radio Network.
He called me and he said they accepted it. And so I furniture was sent, I moved. And the very first time I saw it, of course, was I owned it, and it was better and bigger than I thought. It's like 3,000 square feet. It's a condo, but it's big. And so there are only 14 units in this complex. And so I after I had moved all in, I went around looking to see what everybody did with their little gardens and stuff. And, a lot of people up north said, you're going down south and look what you are, they're going to burn you with the stake. And I said, I don't think so. And so I noticed for the first time, and one of the things I wanted was to be by water. And of course, Nashville is very land bound.
You're pretty far from water in Nashville.
Except right beyond my backyard is a stream.
Oh, okay.
So I got my water. And every now and then I would say, give me a sign that this was a good move. I think it was, but, confirm it. And then I noticed that right behind my condominium, and I can see it from my living room window, is an old cemetery. And people thought I'd be freaked out by it, but I wasn't. I said, I am so delighted with that. They go back to the 1700s. It's a great old cemetery. And I went over one day and I was looking at what was left of most of the headstones, and I found one name that I could make out with a date. And so my friend Jeannie and she did most of the work, did some genealogy on this Thomas Smiley. And she found him, and he had a sister named Hattie. And Hattie was married to a man named Aaron DeLong.
Oh, really?
Who is an ancestor.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that, Barbara?
I called my son. I said, I'm more Southern than you are. And he said, how do you figure? And I said, I have kin buried in the backyard.
That's amazing. And how strange is it that that particular headstone called itself to you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
now, I pulled up another book of yours, Whispers of Spiritual Wisdom. Did you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, that's Patrick published it. He found that I had written a lot of poetry. And he said, we have to publish it. And I said, no, we don't. And we went back and forth. And he said, no, these are good. You've got to publish them. And I said, I don't know a publisher. He said, well, you happen to be married to one. So, and he had Oracle Publishing. And I said, you can't just publish poems. There's got to be a blurb with each poem or something. And he said, well, put them together. And I did. And so there's a blurb, a spiritual whatever, with each of the poems. And he published it.
Nice.
And I was quite shocked.
You were shocked that he published it?
No, I'd never even thought about publishing my poetry.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have so much content, and can have so many different books, but I guess it's kind of hard to wrap your head around just making a book, or some people just go and do like the digital aspect of it. But did it take you very long to put it together?
No, I had a folder of my poems and I wrote the blurbs, but it just, I was surprised he thought they were, and And it's actually sold, which, blew me away.
Of course it did. Everybody loves wisdom, especially spiritual wisdom.
Yeah.
On top of that, right? So is there anything that you want to say to the people listening about spiritual empaths and how to connect to your own spiritual empath?
Well, it's a matter of, I think the one thing that anybody who's in this field and successful will say, if you meditate, that enhances everything. And if that's a journey you want to be on, there are so many different ways of meditating. You don't feel locked into somebody saying this is the only way. If you find a way where you can stop your brain from talking to you and you can sit in silence and listen, you're meditating. And the more you do that, the more you clarify your talents and your gifts that come from spirit, and that you can enhance your life tremendously.
And what do you say to the people about believing?
Not that don't believe?
I think that a big part of becoming and learning about yourself is believing in certain things. What do you say to that?
Well, I think that so long as you have faith in yourself, then you've got it made. If you listen to somebody telling you qualifications you have to have in order to be this or that or the other, that's ridiculous. All you're hearing is their opinion, and there's no guarantee they're wiser than you are.
That's right. Yeah. It's all about looking into yourself, believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And, people say this all the time and think it's so faux pas, but love and light, like, what do you want to say about that?
Well, love, light, and laughter is what makes you go around. And the most important thing is the fuel for your spiritual development comes from creativity. Creativity not compensated for with money. So if you are being creative and having a good time, you are fueling your spiritual journey. And when anybody says to me, nothing's happening in my life, I don't understand what's going on, my first question is, what are you doing creatively? And if they're not doing something creative, and it can be gardening, it can be joyfully going through a flea market and finding treasures, it can be, any sort of creative endeavor. I don't know, alphabetizing your medicine cabinet, going through your closet and making it color consciousness. Whatever floats your boat and makes you happy and gives you joy.
Some people ask, what is the purpose of life? Like, what am I here for? And a lot of people say, well, the purpose of life is to find that purpose of what it is and share it with people.
That and experience. I think the one thing that most people say is, why do I have all these challenges? And my response is, well, you should be really excited that you have all these challenges, because it means you've grown, and this is a test. And it means if you can find, and you're never given a test that you can't pass. So it's a matter of be creative, find a unique way of getting around something. If you're hitting a brick wall, that's your consciousness saying, don't go that way, dummy. There's a better way to go.
You know what? We can make fun of that. About earlier tonight, we did a bit of a go around at the brick wall. But we got creative, and here we are. So for Barbara, to the folks listening across the world, do you want to give a shout out to where people can find you and your work? I know I already shared your website. Did you want to give a little bit more insight to people on where they can find you and how to follow you?
Well, the book that goes with the deck of cards is a handbook called How to Use the Cosmic Deck of Initiation, and it's really a good book. I wasn't wise enough to write a big book on the deck when I painted it. It took 30 years before I could put the spiritual wisdom into a book for the deck of cards. So that's out there as well. My website, BarbaraDeLong.com, has links to everything I do and have done. And there's a place where you can join my circle, which means you get an email every time I put something out there, like one of the predictions for the month or the year. And it's a lot of fun. I don't abuse it, but when something cool happens, I let people know.
Well, Barbara, I want to thank you again for tuning in and being with us here at Paranormal NL Podcast and with UPRN. I know you've been on several different UPRN shows, and we'd love to have you on here on the network. And I wish you all the best during this new year. Do you have any resolutions that you'd like to share?
Well, resolutions, try not to put more on my desk than I can plow through. As far as predictions go, the next year is going to be very, very stressful for everybody. So pay attention to take care of what's at home. Don't worry about what's going on nationally. You have no control over that. But find peace and tranquility within your own home and keep it that way, and you'll be able to weather the storms that are indeed coming.
Do you have any tips on how they can do that? And when you say what is coming, did you want to share a little bit more about what is coming on your prediction?
There's a lot more chaos coming. There's a lot more unsettlement. There's going to be restructuring of governments and partially our own. And the element of war is out there. I don't know if it'll touch us or not, but it's going to continue.
Well, let's hope in the year 2026 that it doesn't touch us, and that we all continue to look inside of ourselves and help find our inner self and our spiritual wisdom. And again, I want to thank Barbara DeLong for being on with us today with PNL Podcast and UPRN. And make sure you look on the ticker on the bottom there, and you can find Barbara's website at barbaradelong.com, and you can follow her there. And I guess we'll peace out with some BOG Team music. Now, I've got different ones. I've got folk, I've got rock, I've got metal, I've got 80s. Is there anything in particular? I've got techno.
I guess I am probably I'm more of a 60s and 70s, but I'll go for the 80s.
60s and 70s. Well, yeah, okay. I've got some 80s here. We'll put some BOG Team 80s music on to lead us out. And thank you so much again, Barbara, for being on the show today. Really appreciate having you on.
My pleasure.
Everybody have a great 2026.
Where the whispers start.